Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blogs. So let's get to it. All right, you guys, before we get to the stories of the day, I got a couple of things that I want to announce. First, it's a birthday shout out for our own rock star, Miss Kimora. She asked me to give her a shout out, said she's been watching me since the days of Braxton Family Values. I think that I got many of you guys that still watch me today back in those days. Those were what I like to call the years of Camelot, child. We used to have a good time with Braxton Family Values and The Game and all that. Those are the shows that I started with. And that's when I got a lot of you guys. And I appreciate the fact that you are still watching me to this day. So happy birthday to Kimora. I think she said, I'm not going to get the lying on what the birthday age was, but hopefully that's enough. Happy birthday to you. Also, on this day, if you guys notice, this is my top of the blogs number 498. And that means that we are coming upon the 500th episode of Top of the Blogs. Yes, I know. Can you guys believe that we have been doing this for damn near 500 episodes? Okay, and it's really more than that because we've had part 1s and part 2s and we've had extras and everything. But 500 episode will be official that week before Thanksgiving. And I want you guys to hold on to your seats. I can't even believe I'm about to tell you guys this, but I am going to do that episode live. When I say that, that make my stomach hurt, y'all. Y'all know that I am not a live, I'm not a live kind of girl. I mean, I do it in my Patreon group for Roxy Reads Book Club, but just the fact of going live on a scale, you know, with my regular YouTube channel, it makes me very nervous. Be still, just like, things can just, I don't know why. I just have a thing with live episodes, but I feel like this is a cause for celebration. Let's do something that we don't normally do. I'm not going to be doing lives, you know, in the future, but a special occasion, I think that, you know, requires some special fun. So I'm telling you guys that because I need to know. I think I'm going to do it on a Thursday. That would be, look, I feel like I'm in my book club meeting. It's going to be, so that episode falls on the 17th. Okay, I'm gonna do it on the 17th, and I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna do it, you know, afternoon 5-ish, or if I'm gonna do it that night. I think it'll probably be easier for me to do it around 5, but might be easier for you guys. I want as many people to be able to participate and watch as I can. So just some input. Y'all let me know what y'all think about, you know, that day. I'm definitely doing it that day. But the times, y'all just throw them on in there and, you know, I'll just look at them. It'll ultimately be my decision, but it's good to, I like to get everybody's opinion on that. Okay. And, I think that is it, what I have for the housekeeping. I think that's it, you guys. Let's get on to the gossip. All right, you guys. Well, actually, before we get to the gossip, the very first story, I'm sure you guys already know what it's about. It is about the member of ImeGotANewJob. Mama named him Kershnik Kari Ball. They all have some very interesting names. I'm sure you guys already know the story. It was all over social media, and it was just the most shocking and upsetting information that I got first thing that morning. I mean, I literally had just gotten on my phone about 5:30 in the morning, and I had went to Instagram. And as soon as I went to Instagram, one of the rock stars, I saw a DM pop down on my screen that said, "Did you hear that Takeoff got killed? Just got killed?" And I was like, "No, that can't be true." And they were like, "Yes, he just got killed. It's all over Twitter." And then, so I go to Twitter, and they were like, "Well, be careful because there's video that's up." Usually when I get this kind of information, it's happened some hours ago, and on Twitter is so many people that are responding to the tweets that the original videos get pushed down and I don't usually see them. But this time in particular, because it had really just happened a couple of hours before I went on to Twitter, I was able to see the videos. Awful, just horrible. And I was so disgusted. But I don't even know if disgusted was the word. It just was this overcoming of helplessness, because we've had this discussion so many times that it's become normal, but it doesn't feel normal, but it feels normalized, because every time you turn around, you're hearing about a rapper getting killed. This one was more upsetting because even though I don't really know the Migos like that, I mean, I know their music, of course. I've told you guys how much I enjoy their music. But I don't follow them like that. However, you hear so many people talking about Takeoff. He's the quiet one. He's the one that stays out the way. He's the one that doesn't try to bring too much attention to himself. He's the real talent of the group. He's the one that writes the raps. He's the one, I did know that that's always been what they've said about him. And so it didn't make any sense in my brain for me to be seeing these videos and hearing that he had been shot and killed. Immediately, the story started coming out. One person had put up on their social media what their account was, which was that there was a dice game that was going on. There were a bunch of people that were crowded around, huddled around as dice games go. There was some sort of argument that was going on. And initially, they were saying that Quavo was in the middle of this argument, like he's the one that started it. And shit got escalated. And next thing you know, somebody was shooting. Before I even go on, I'm sure you guys know that story has changed a whole bunch of times. Okay, but that was the original story that was going on. That person also said that one of their own people from their own camp looks like that was the person that was shooting, and he accidentally probably hit Takeoff because he was just kind of shooting wildly. Everybody was very much cuddled together. So, bullets, of course, don't have a name, and they don't have a designation of where they're going. They just end up where they end up. And unfortunately, Takeoff was hit in the head. Originally, they were saying in the neck, but now that the autopsy has been done, they're saying multiple shots to the torso and to the head. Okay. And yeah, the videos are awesome, very gruesome. He was on the ground, laid out, bleeding out. Quavo's over him screaming his name, like screaming take, just saying take, and like he just really couldn't believe what was going on. And it was awful. We'll have a discussion about people posting those videos another time. I mean, we've said it so many times that it's so callous and it's so horrible to see somebody's last moments on social media like that. It happens. It definitely happens. But I just wish there was. I understand that sometimes people will record things. Those type of evidence can be helpful in an investigation. That's one thing to record it. Another thing is to put it on social media. It's like, what is the reason that people feel the first thing that they need to do is go to social media? How does that help anybody? If anything, it is extra traumatizing, especially for the loved ones, just knowing that those kind of images are out. I would hate for my family, any of my family members, to be remembered in that way. So that's another discussion for another day. However, the videos were out there. Okay. Yeah, very, very sad. I'm sure many of you guys had the same thoughts that I had. As first of all, this shit is senseless and just stupid that it just keeps happening. I don't even want to keep going into it because it just sounds like, talk. Just the disregard for Black life, especially Black men. Regardless on whether or not it was accidental or, on purpose, who was responsible, anything. The fact of the matter is you've got a group of Black people who get together and always have guns, and their first thought is to resort to pulling the gun and shooting, And 9 times out of 10, when you shoot a gun, you're going to hit somebody. And the chances are that you could kill that person. It's just sort of like no regard for human life. I don't really... There's another discussion that's going around about hip hop, the community, the culture, the fact that there is so much death and so much violence that are in the words of the music, that it definitely influences our young people of today. I mean, I will say, yes, that's true. It is true. We've had gangster rap for years. I mean, when I was young, NWA and all them were very popular. But there was a balance. So you had your conscious rappers, you had your positive rappers, your party rappers, your fun rappers. You had gangster rap. You know, you had rappers that was pimps that talked about. There was all these different type of raps. Today, and I don't want to sound like the old person that's complaining, because I listen to the music today, you know, so, but today, the overall feel of rap music today, in my opinion, is very negative, very dark. I've had you guys try to explain to me what drill rap is. And when people finally did explain it to me, I was just like, why are people even rapping about these kind of things? Like, why? And then why do people like to listen to that kind of thing? It's definitely not my kind of thing. As a matter of fact, I've been listening to Joey Badass recently. His last album, very good. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But there's many conversations that can be had about the reasons why we find ourselves every other week talking about another rapper in particular being killed. And perhaps we'll talk about that in the future. But in this video, you guys, it's just my condolences to Takeoff's family. We know that Quavo is his uncle. You guys have tried to explain that to me 100 times because I was getting them all mixed up. I knew that they were related in ways, but I couldn't remember who was what. But yes, Quavo was the uncle. And for an uncle to see their nephew, who is like their right-hand man, you know, getting killed, that just, I can't even imagine what Quavo might be feeling and going through right now. Of course, we also know that the Migos had broken up, or maybe I'd like to think that they were on a hiatus and that eventually they would make it back to each other. You know, it's ego and it's pride and it's all kind of other shit that goes into the reasons why they weren't together any longer. Ask one person, it's because supposedly Offset slept with Saweetie, Quavo's ex-girlfriend. Ask another person, it's because of the money issues that was going on with Migos and their label, and Offset wanting to get away from it and do his own thing. Then you hear that no, there was an issue as far as Saweetie was concerned, that she was supposedly sleeping with Lil Baby, who was also a label mate of the Migos. There's so many rumors that go around. Apparently, the Offset was going to address these rumors on his next album, according to his wife, Cardi B. I don't know how any of this is going to come down the pike now, considering where the Migos is as a group. First of all, there's no group any longer. I just can't even imagine them going forward. You know, I don't know. It would hurt my heart to know that one of their members is gone. It's just like they were the group, you know, the three amigos. It was like you needed to have all of them together or nothing. And the fact that Takeoff won't be there to perform with them any longer, you know, it's just kind of hard to think of them. It doesn't even, you know, it's so sad. It is such a sad story, especially when you hear about people getting killed who have generally been the ones to stay out of the way. Don't bother nobody. Those stories are the ones that really hit home, because you think like, I mean, you don't think when somebody who might be an asshole per se, you know, dies. This is so callous to say, but I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Nobody deserves these kind of things, but it's easier a little bit to process when, you know somebody that's living the wrong way, that's out there doing shit, and, you just be like, it's just a matter of time. That shit is going to catch up with you. Okay, that's one thing. But when you have a person who just, everybody that talks about him talks about how cool he was and just how he just stayed to himself and did what he had to do as far as his music was concerned and didn't, have any problems with anybody. And that's the person that gets killed. That shit is heartbreaking. I was upset about that all day. I mean, you would think that I was like a super Migos fan. I was a fan of their music like everybody else, but the way that I felt, I was just like, I'm so fucking sick of this. I talked to Mr. and he was, Mr. is pro-black and, all about the people. And so, he was going on and on about, the music today and all of that. I mean, it had really affected a lot of people in different ways. And you just couldn't do nothing but shake your head. Just shake your head. Since then, so many other stories have come out. We've had people giving their accounts and trying to tie it in with Jazz Prince's people. And, I don't want to get into any of that because a lot of it is hearsay. Nobody really knows exactly what happens. However, that one person who did give the account at the very beginning, it looks like a lot of attention was paid to that post. And the person of interest was the person that he was talking about in that post, saying that it was Quavo's, was their people who began doing the shooting. And then the other rival people, I guess, that they were arguing with, was shooting back. We still don't know whose bullets hit who. You can't really tell even when you see the videos. I mean, there's commotion. Somebody is holding their phone, but of course it's shooting. So the person is running, I'm assuming, ducking. So the camera is going everywhere. You can't really see. But there are parts of the video that you can see. And in those parts of that video, the person who is labeled, I don't have his name, you guys, I'm sorry, but he is supposedly Quavo's A&R rep for his own personal label. Supposedly he is a person of interest. I don't know if he is responsible for shooting. It's such a horrible story. If he didn't mean to do it, it's just senseless. It's just senseless because why pull out a gun in the first place? Quavo was walking away. Okay. They were arguing, yes, but Quavo has clearly said, man, I'm not fixing to argue with you. Okay, I'm beating hurt somebody. Walked off, and the next thing you know, the shots were ringing out. And you can hear multiple shots. We now know that multiple shots hit Takeoff in that, but it is really, really, really sad, you guys. And there's really nothing else I can say about it. Yeah, the stories will continue to go around, fly around until the investigation is done. Nobody knows anything of what's going to go on. We don't even know if we'll ever get the full story because, there's always these rules of the streets, people not wanting to snitch. Let me just say real fast about snitching because we've talked about this too. When I was younger and people talked about not being a snitch, the definition of being a snitch was if I did some shit with you, that was illegal. And then, so we both did it together and then I was caught, okay, and went to jail. A snitch in this scenario would be me telling on you in order to get the heat taken off of me, okay? Even though we did the shit together, now I'm telling on you. Back in the day, it was like if you got caught and you did some shit with somebody else, then you just sucked it up and didn't tell on the other person, okay? Today, people have decided, and that might even be a faulty way of thinking, but that's the way that the snitch rule went back in the day. Today, now people seem to think snitching is anytime you see something that's illegal that goes on and you're not supposed to say anything. So if you see your neighbor house being broken into, Pookie sneaking out the window, then you're not supposed to tell the police that you saw your neighbor's house getting broken into by Pookie. That is not snitching. That is actually saying, I saw this. This is protecting your community. Okay. That's how the streets used to go back in the day as opposed to today. Now people don't want to say anything about anybody. And I get it. People are afraid, you know, motherfuckers is crazy. They will come after you, and all of these things. But I just want people to understand that it's not snitching when you have been a witness to something that was illegal and it won't get solved without somebody's help. It's two totally different things, you know. I just wanted to make that clear because, you know, people are still saying that people don't want to say what happened. I mean, it was clearly a group of people at that. It was bowling and billiards, I think is the name of the place in Houston. And they said it was at least 30 to 40 people that was still there. Of course, after the shots rang out, people probably got the hell up out of there. But for those who might have seen something, you know, the help is needed. They need somebody to say, like, this is what you saw. And I'm sure there are people that are also saying what they saw, but then there are some that might have like real key clues to what happened, might not be saying anything, you know, so I don't know, y'all. It's just really a sad situation. I can't keep talking about it because I got a lot of other stories to talk about, but my heart just was hurt. The fact that they haven't been able to resolve their problems with each other. And that's another thing that people need to remember. Life is short. Like, you think you're going to see somebody later on in the day. They could walk out your house today and go and get killed as soon as they drive out their driveway, you know, and you can't ever fix it. So, I mean, it just takes, it gives you some perspective on life and how you just need to move in so many ways. And yeah, it was just really, really upsetting. And I've talked about this really way too long. So I just wanted to give my prayers up for Takeoff's family, his friends, his uncle Quavo, you know, his other partner Migos, in the Migos, Offset, who I'm sure everybody is just, the emotions have got to be through the roof. I'm just, so many things that I know and that I don't even know. But what I do know is the shit that didn't get resolved will never get resolved. Okay. And that makes me sad, you guys. So I'm getting emotional. So anyway, you guys, we're going to move off from that. But I just wanted to say he was 28 years old, was not married. I don't believe he had any children. Rest in peace to Takeoff. All right, you guys, next story up. Somebody asked me about Halloween, which was just really interesting. One of the rock stars was asking me how I felt about Halloween and if I dressed up and did I dress the kids up back in the day and all of that and how I felt about these pagan holidays. And I was just like, now you guys know me, I am not deep. Okay. I enjoy celebrating the holidays for holidays' sake. You know, when my kids were small, yes, I dressed them for Halloween. They enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing them being happy. No, I don't dress anymore, but I used to back in the day, and I would take my kids trick-or-treating. And, you know, I don't think really too deeply about these holidays. I know a lot of the holidays have a negative attachment to it that a lot of people try to ignore because they want to celebrate the holiday. I'm one of them people, okay? So I don't think about it being about, you know, evil spirits and all of that. It's just another holiday for the kids to get dressed up as their favorite little character and go and walk the streets. I don't really care, not walk the streets, but, you know, get the candy and all that. And apparently they don't walk the streets no more. Y'all told me they do trunk or treats now, where they go to a parking lot and all the cars get all gussied up and decorated, and then they pass candy out of their cars because it's not safe. And that actually sounds like that's a cool thing to do. You know, back when I was getting into that age where, you know, when my kids were small, you know, you would go to the mall and some of the stores would participate, you know. It's totally not like how it used to be, at least not over in my neighborhood. You know, when I was little, honey, everybody, you couldn't wait to get your ass home from school so you can get dressed in your costume and get out on them streets. As soon as the fucking street lights came on, it was time to go. Okay. And stayed out till almost damn near 11 o'clock that night, going all in all the neighborhoods again. You don't see that anymore. Okay, you don't see that. You don't see the kids running across the streets in the, in the neighborhoods, and you got to be careful because, the kids are so excited. Like, none of that happens here. I do know that it happens in some neighborhoods. I know people take their kids to more affluent neighborhoods and, but over here with your cousins where I live, not in my subdivision anyway. Well, I live deeper in my subdivision, so maybe they didn't make it over here. Maybe they will stay still on the main drag of the subdivision, but yeah, still not the same. It's just not the same as it used to be. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Easter, yeah, Easter bunny, Easter eggs, all of that. Of course, I know that it's really about resurrection of Jesus Christ, if you're a Christian. But I still let the kids take their pictures with the Easter bunny. Okay. We can get into conversations about Christmas if we really, really wanted to. Okay. But no, I enjoy Christmas holiday. Valentine's Day. I mean, you can think of the massacres. There's so many negatives that are attached to these holidays, but yeah, I enjoy them. I enjoy seeing the creativity of people, especially today, because on social media, people they go all out. Y'all saw Candy. Candy was every fucking day. All of these celebrities, Janelle Monáe, and we saw Nelly and Jermaine Dupri and Brian Cox and Lizzo. And I mean, there's so many of them that were out there and just really going all out and putting them on social media. That seems to be the thing to do now. Okay. Get dressed up and then do it big on social media. And I enjoy seeing all of that. So no, I don't have a problem with it at all. Like, I'm not a stickler for these kind of things. I'm not going to sit down and be, well, that means that, you believe in the dark side. And yeah, that's just not me. That is just not me. I think that people should do what they want to do, as long as it's not hurting anybody. And as long as the kids get enjoyment out of it, then I think that they should do it. It should be done. If you don't want to do that, then that's fine as well. If you believe that it should be at, like Hallelujah Day, and take the kids to the church, that's fine too. If the church let the kids dress up and, as long as if they say no evil costumes, but you can still dress, I'm fine with all of it. I really, really am. Okay. I can't wait till when I have my grandkids so I can get them, I'll get way more involved again and, take them out and do all of that. But yeah, it's fine. Y'all, it's fine. My favorite costume, of course, was Miles. You guys know Messy Miles. He's just so creative. He was one of them characters. I don't even know what the hell the thing was called, but it was like half man, half animal, and had the fucking legs. And he does it big every year. And every year I look forward to what he's going to do. Love Miles to death. So, that was my favorite costume. But yeah, there was a lot of them. There was a lot of people. I didn't write down a whole bunch of names, so I can't tell you who was my favorite, but I love the creativity. I'm all for it. So yeah, Halloween, Roxanne does them. What did you guys dress up as? What your babies dress up as? What did you guys do? Y'all let me know. All right, you guys, next story, a very sad story. Very, very sad story. Afrobeats artist, is it Davido? Davido? Child, y'all know I mess up these names. Okay, mama named him David Adeleke. Of course, it's a Nigerian name, so please don't charge it to the heart. Okay, charge it to the mouth. All right. I'm not, no disrespect, but Afrobeats artist Davido and his wife, well, actually his fiance, Chioma Rowland, who's also a well-known chef on social media. They lost their 3-year-old son. I'm going to put his name on the screen because I just don't want to butcher it. Who drowned on Halloween in Nigeria. Very, 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 very sad. You know, nobody wants to hear about a 3-year-old dying in any kind of way. My biggest fear is to die by drowning. So just to know that this little boy has died from drowning just is a whole nother, it almost gives me anxiety. Okay. But apparently, Davido, again, hopefully I'm not saying his name wrong, but him and his fiance, they were out of town. And the little boy was left in the care of the domestic workers that live at the house, I guess, while they were gone. Somehow the little boy got away from the nanny. Not sure. They said that she stepped away to take a phone call or to make a phone call. He was no longer in her sight. She thought that he was with the chef. The chef thought that he was with her. Okay. When she came back, they could not find the little boy, who had just turned 3 a couple of weeks before, you guys. They said they tore the house upside down trying to look for the little boy, and then one of the security guards found the little boy at the bottom of the pool. And that he had been in there, they thought, somewhere around 20 minutes. And he died. So, sad, okay? It's got to be a different kind of pain to know as parents that you weren't there. You know, it has to hit you very guiltily to think that I wasn't even, if I was there, and, you know, I would, of course, have protected my child and kept him from something like this happening. So I'm sure there's a whole nother amount of guilt that you put on yourself. Like, why the fuck was I gone? If I would have been there, I could have prevented this, you know? So that's one thing that they have to deal with. But then also the fact that the domestic workers, you know, the police had to take them in for questioning. They said that they kept 2. It was 8 of them. They kept 2 of them, which was the nanny and another person. Not sure who that other person was, but the rest they let go. And I guess in the investigation, they're going to try to figure out if they believe that, you know, this was an intentional murder. I sure hope that's not the case, or if it was just a really unfortunate accident. But yeah, just the thought, you guys. I'm not sure if I told you guys this story, but once me and Mr. we was in Arizona visiting some friends of ours, and they had a beautiful home, a beautiful big backyard, and they had this huge pool, and it had waterfalls and everything. And throughout the day, Jada wanted to get in the pool, but nobody was really getting in the pool. I hadn't even brought a bathing suit for her because I didn't know that they had a pool there. This is when Jada was like a year old, maybe almost 2 years old. And, you know, throughout the day, we was putting our feet in the water or whatever, but that was it. But in the evening, we had all gone in the house, and Mr.'s cousin, she used to live with us, and she was with us as well. She was a teenager at the time, probably 15, 14, somewhere in there. She was taking Jada, and they, you know, there were other kids there, so she would go with, she would take Jada with her, and either Jada was with me and Mr., or she was with, you know, our cousin that we were taking care of at the time. So that was fine. But later on that afternoon, later on that evening, I realized that I didn't know where Jada was. And our cousin, I couldn't find her, okay? She was not outside with the other kids and all that. And I was like frantic, like, oh my God, where is Jada? And immediately I thought, oh my God, she fell in the pool. Because she had wanted to go in the pool. And if there was a splash, I wouldn't even have heard it because the waterfalls was going. And immediately I just screamed like, oh my God, the pool. And we all ran out there. I just knew that she was going to be at the bottom of that pool, but she wasn't. But you guys, and like right after that, I see my cousin and Jada coming. They had walked to a liquor store or something, a little corner store, and they were coming back, you know, just like everything. And I was just like, you did not tell me that you were taking Jada. Because all day when she would take her, she'd be like, I'm going to take Jada to the front. But I was so relieved. But I can't even tell you guys the feeling when I immediately thought that that girl was in that pool, child. I just was like, oh my God. Okay. So the feeling that I get, like, I just know that everybody there probably was just the most sick that they can be, especially if you were left in care of somebody, of a child who can't do anything really for themselves, and this is how it ends up. So, it just, I know those parents have to be going through hell. I know they got to be inconsolable. As a matter of fact, they said that he was so upset that he just lost it. Tried to tear off his clothes, wanted to run down the street, like all of these things. My heart just goes out to him. It's just, as a parent, I'm sure you guys would feel the exact same way. Just heartbroken for them. But yeah, he was 3 years old. Rest in peace to little Ifeyami, I believe is what his name is. But rest in peace to the little boy. Guys, next story up. This story is actually pretty interesting. So Ime, is that how you say his name? Ime Udoka from the Boston Celtics, the head coach that was suspended for the entire season because of the inappropriate relationship that he had with one of the Boston Celtics front office staff members. Yes, that one that was also engaged to Nia Long, and had her and the little boy move all the way to Boston, and then all of this shit was going on. Okay, anyway, they're saying that he is going to be going to the Brooklyn Nets, that they're in serious talks, and it looks like that is where he will be headed. Steve Nash, formerly from Utah Jazz, he was the head coach there. He's no longer there. They need a coach. Ime needs a job. And apparently Brooklyn Nets is like, we don't give a fuck about whatever you was doing with old girl over there in Boston. Come on here and help us get to this championship, because at the end of the day, that's all they really care about is the championship. And they believe that they have a championship caliber team with Kevin Durant being there and Kyrie Irving being there, and you know, the team is doing well. They believe that the team will do well and that he will be the one that will get them there. You know, he got the Boston Celtics to the finals, even though they lost. That was still a big feat, and so they still want that magic over in Brooklyn Nets. But what's interesting to me about this story is that if this was a woman, and I don't usually pull these type of cards, you guys, but it's funny how it's not that big of a deal. First of all, it's so many ironies here. First of all, this is a man who was suspended for a whole season. If that had been a fucking woman, she'd have been fired. Okay. Then you have the woman who is this white woman that was involved in this relationship, and even to this day, when you read articles about it, they will not put that lady's name out. Okay, they will just say a female staff member of the front office staff. So there's protection on him as a man. There's protection of this woman as a white woman. Okay, the whole story is just crazy. And then the way that people were saying that they didn't want to touch it, they didn't want to talk about it, it just seems like there's so way more to this story than we ever will get the information for. And the fact that somebody is willing to take him over to the Brooklyn Nets so quickly and all that, it just sort of seems like they're ready to just be like, okay, that's enough of that story. Let's finish it up, move it off, sweep it under the rug so we can just get on back to the business of basketball. It's just interesting to me. I might be totally off. I didn't consult my brother, who is all things basketball, but it's just when I read the stories, I'm just like, they just not gonna put over. They've said her name once or twice before, but the majority of the articles that you read, they don't never say her name. Let that had been Shaniqua. I have a girlfriend named Shaniqua out there. As you know, Rocky love you. I had to use your name though. But let that had been somebody who was a black woman, and I don't know if I feel like all of this would have been playing out the same way that it has been so far. But that's neither here nor there. Oh boy, is fixing to have another job. Look like Nia gonna be moving from Boston to Brooklyn. Next story up, you guys. Oklahoma man, 30-year-old Ernest LaCour. He was arrested for knowingly spreading HIV to at least 3 of his sexual partners. He apparently was diagnosed back in 2019 and neglected to tell his sexual partners that he had HIV. So one woman in particular who has come out, she said that her and him hooked up in 2021, had a relationship, and shortly after she had sex with him, she started to feel sick, said that she was nauseous all the time. She felt like she had a really bad cold, that she was passing out, and finally she went to the doctor and she said she was shocked when she found out that she had HIV. And she knew that it probably came from him, I'm assuming, because they had unprotected sex, and she just couldn't believe it. But that was the story for all of the women, all of those three anyway, that have come out so far that were sexually involved with him. He was arrested and charged with spreading the disease. I don't have the official charge here, you guys. I didn't actually put it in my notes. I'm sorry. But he was arrested. At first, they were saying that they were just giving out his name. And I was like, this motherfucker need to go to jail. That's a deadly disease. People aren't dying from HIV like they used to. However, I don't think many of us would want to have HIV, you know? And if it's just a matter of you telling the person that you have it, and you guys take an extra precaution if you are going to be in a relationship with somebody that has that, you know, they have all of these protocols and measurements that can be taken where you can still have sex safely. However, when you take the choice out of any of that because of whatever your reasons are, whether they're, you know, evil reasons or not, I mean, I don't know what wouldn't be considered not evil. I mean, you have to let people know what your status is. You have diseases that could kill somebody or something that they would live with for the rest of their life, like herpes or something like that. Like, these things need to be told to the other person. Okay, that shit needs, you know, because at first when they were saying that they hadn't arrested him, I was like, that nigga need to go to jail. And yes, he has been arrested. So they're asking for anybody that may have been involved with him, that, you know, first of all, you need to go get checked. And secondly, let the police know, because they can tack on all them people that got infected to his charges. So if that name sounds familiar to you, Ernest LaCour from Oklahoma, get in touch with the authorities and the doctor.